Well, I've been home for less than a week. Came home midday Sunday from 8 days away from the homestead, and I haven't had time to do much out here. Ziggy, why are you in the potatoes? What a menace. You better have caught something. Anyway, the grass needs to be mowed. I need to get more manure. A lot of weeds, basically, in the places where I haven't mulched. I've got some issues with some caterpillars on my fruit trees, but the most pressing issue right now, I would say, is trellising and pruning in the hoop house. Hey Ziggy, you know, you could eat a caterpillar here or there, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. You better stay on the walking path. Hey, can you not put your gross nose all over all the tomatoes, dude? Man, what is your deal? You're a nut. The first step in this process is to get in here and assess the situation more closely. Even from the mouth of the hoop house, as I opened the plastic in the morning, I could tell things were out of hand. And I've been doing this long enough that I knew this was happening as I was in Oregon and over the last few days since returning. But it's still worth a few minutes walking down the rows to see exactly how far things are going to have to be pushed back to get them on track. All things being what I'd like them to be, I'd never let tomatoes get to this point. But all things are rarely exactly as I'd like, and my day job, calling me to the other side of the country for a week or so, while annoying, is a small price to pay for gainful employment that also allows me to do something I enjoy. Also, it would be totally false to say I've never been in this position before. Tomato finds have gotten ahead of me before, many, many times. Even when I was farming commercially, and that's what I did more than full time, when you have this much biomass to remove, I've found it's a waste of time to fill 5-gallon buckets. You might as well go in with the big boy. Alright, so here's a good example of a tomato that has outgrown the trellis. I wasn't here for about 8 days, and then I've been really busy catching up with work this week. Friday night, sun's going to go down in a little bit, and this is one of the windows I have to be in the hoop house when it's not super hot. Actually, it's really nice out right now. A little bit cool outside, so in the hoop house is really nice. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can get this tomato plant back the way it's supposed to be. As you can see, the weight of all of the biomass has pulled it off into the row. So the goal is to get it straightened back out and climbing up this twine. And actually there's so much tomato here that by the time I get it back on, it's going to be hitting the plastic. And that's the case with all the tomatoes and not all of the cucumber. Actually, none of the cucumbers right now are in danger of that, but the tomatoes are all about to hit the roof. I suspect once I get them all pruned and trellised, I'll need to lower all of them. So, oh, I do have one cucumber that is doing that. So anyway, let's see if we can get this tomato. This is a good one to start because it's one of the worst ones. And if I could do this one, I could do any of them. So the first thing I'm going to do before I prune it all is train this back up onto the trellis, because there are so many bends. As you can see, if I put this straight, the tomato is now facing down. So I want it to face up, which means I'm going to have to bend the plant quite a bit. Ideally, I would have been able to do this long before this point, but like I said, it wasn't here. And when I wasn't here for over a week, and when I got back, I was busy. So rather than prune first, I'm going to train this, because the process of training this, I might break the main stem. So what I might have to do is reestablish another main stem. So what I'm going to do is very carefully wind this around, try not to rip any leaves off, do as little damage as possible. And I'm already up against the hoop house here, so I'm not going to go too much further. I think I can get it as high as I want it to go. There we go. There. So now that it's up on my scissors here, now that it's back the way it's supposed to be, I'm gonna take all of the shoots off. And at this point, a lot of them are too big to break, like this one for instance. So, got my trusty scissors. Almost too big to cut. Cut that off, drop it in. That one's small enough. There's some even down the bottom that have re-emerged from where I broke them off earlier. So bad. At this time of the year, there's also going to be some yellowing on the leaves at the bottom. Those yellow spots, these ones are kind of dying off. So, and you can see actually there's another shoot coming out right there. So I've already pruned this once, and it's trying again. So the work is never done on the pruning. You can see these on this tomato over here. Some of these big leaves start to yellow, and this one actually was never really trained properly, so it's laying down on the ground. I don't know if it's going to be sending out any roots because it's on mulch, so it probably isn't. I don't see any roots touching the ground, so that's good. But anyway, this time of the year, it's also time to start actually pruning the leaf branches as well. I just got the bell from the house, so I gotta go see what's up. When I get back, I'll pick up all. Actually, I can do that now quickly. There. There's clearly a lot of work to do here. I got the cherry tomatoes in particular have gone nuts. So there's several shoots on this. What I could do is just cut the main stem off this one, because this shoot is actually growing right up the plant, but the main stem is quite a bit more prolific and it already has a lot more fruit stems on it, so I'm not going to do that unless I have to. This one here you can see is already up against the roof on all of the shoots, so this is the main stem and it's going off towards the roof. There's other side shoots that are coming off, but all of this has to be pruned. Can't even walk through here. That's another one that's bent right off the trellis. A lot of these are that Juliet right there. There's a lot of work needs to be done. Let's see, I can't even really walk through. There's another one, multiple side shoots. So this really jumped ahead of me. Another one that needs to be pruned. It's really jumped ahead of me. Can't even walk through here. So, a lot of work to do, a lot of side shoots coming down on the ground. I'm gonna shut off the video, do my best to get to it as much as I can tonight. I got a big old bucket in here because there's gonna be way too much for a 5-gallon bucket. You can see quite a bit of work to do. So I'm gonna shut off the camera, get to it, turn on some tunes, see how far I get before it gets dark. Well, that's 2 rows done, almost. I just went down the row, the walking path that the big bucket's in, and just did this one section. So I haven't been over here yet. It's not too bad over there. These ones here are going to need a lot more work because I need to get them all up, but not against the plastic. So essentially I need to train these to a point below the knot and then kind of let them do this up like this, because they constantly want to grow vertically, which is going to hit the plastic. So those ones I'm going to probably leave for tomorrow. I don't think I'll get those done. The sun's going down. But this row looks good. There are a couple that I haven't finished pruning. So for instance, these cherry tomatoes that grow so prolifically, I've left a couple of shoots because I don't want to keep going because they're up against the plastic. So what I'm going to do is probably come in tomorrow and fix these cucumbers that are dying because of the cucumber beetles. And I'll show you how on some of these I can actually still salvage the cucumber plant but get rid of all this dead growth. But that'll be for tomorrow. And then once I do that, I'll be able to take this down, take another piece of twine, hook onto this, and then lay the plant down, as I talked about earlier. Lay the plant down and then have it grow up to the next section. So that's essentially allowing me to extend the height of the hoop house, or at least that's the equivalent of extending the height of the hoop house. Another one here, another cherry. These are just banging against the plastic everywhere. So I pruned that pretty heavily up to this point, and when I lower it, I'll see whichever branch is most vertical when it's over here. But a lot of these are in better shape now. So again, these are pruned all the way because I was able to get them around the twine, but they need to be lowered. The rest of these hybrid jet stars are doing something weird this year. I think it's because I saved the seed years ago. Hey Ziggy, what you been doing? Anyway, they're doing something weird where they've grown up to a certain point and then they stop sending out vertical stems and everything's going into fruit, so I haven't really needed to prune or train those. It also means that it's almost like they're acting like determinants, meaning they've produced all the fruit they're going to produce and then it's just going to ripen all at once. We'll see. That's not what they're supposed to do. Anyway, they don't taste that great anyway. They're okay, but they're a hybrid. They're not as good as the rest of these. So anyway, I do need to lower these, but there's one more thing I wanted to show you. If I can find one. Oh, yeah, I left a few of them to show you. So, along with the shoots that come out from all the nodes, anywhere where there's a crotch between the main stem and the branch, the leaf branch, there's always sending up shoots. You can see the scars from where I've pruned in the past, and then like this one I think I just pinched off today, so there's still a little bit of that I couldn't get to. But anyway, this one's pruned, but there's still one more sucker here. And this happens a lot, where off of a fruit branch I'll get a sucker. So what I'm going to do is actually prune this back to just past the last fruit right here. Another thing that happens when you're working on tomatoes, come on Ziggy, is that all of the chemical that the tomatoes put out as a defense mechanism gets all over your hands. It starts out with this kind of green pollen-like substance, and then the more you touch, the blacker it gets. And if I keep going tonight, my hands will just be black, and it actually gets to the point where it's hard to get off. Just finished reading to the kids, bedtime. It's getting to be the middle of August. Actually, today's the 16th, it's past the middle of August, which it's getting darker earlier and earlier. So, not gonna have time to do any more trellising in the hoop house because it's too dark to see, and I learned my lesson with that a long time ago. Maybe not long after I started farming commercially. I was always doing everything way past when light had faded and waking up earlier than I should have. Essentially, long story short, just worked way too many hours to try to get everything done. So anyway, I cut one of my fingers pretty badly when it was almost dark and I was snipping. Not as badly as my most recent cut, but definitely bad enough. Had to go to the hospital, get things sewn back together. So I don't mess around with that anymore. It's dark enough in here that can't really see the plants. So I'm gonna close down the hoop house for the night. Give it a shot some more tomorrow.